Hello everyone, this is Taryn with Wonderfully Made Handcrafting, and today I have a flip through of my full workup of the Identified Bible Journaling Kit from ByTheWell4God. This was for July of 2023, but you may see this later if they re-release this kit. I decided to work through this one a little bit differently in my pocket Bible. So they sell these pocket Bibles and they have little cards included in the kit, and I use my fabric to make this really cool like quilted look, and I actually did a no-sew thing, so I just used some score tape and I really like the look of it. It did get super chunky because I do not know how to do things unchunkified, and so it is really tied down here with this string, but let me open this up. Now you can kind of see how chunky this thing is. It does not want to stay flat. It kind of just sits there like this, but that's how I like it. So this is 14 little cards or inserts of some kind, and let's walk through this. So some of they're not going to be in order because obviously the verses for each day are all throughout the Bible, but I'm just going to kind of take them out one by one and show you kind of what I did with these. So the first one is in John 10, 28 and 29. Let me grab a little piece of paper to hold my spot in the Bible while I put this out. So what I did here was I used some of these, let me grab them, Daniel Smith watercolors with this card, and also the layered floral stamp. So I ended up using a paintbrush and just painting on this and just kind of smushing it down. Now this is not what I would normally do because it's not perfect, and that's okay. It's kind of something I'm learning to be okay with. And then I did use some VersaFine ink for the outline, and that's kind of how I did this one. It kind of was fun. I'm looking forward to trying this with more stuff and adding some, more of a watercolor effect. But then I added this little verse I cut it out from a flashcard with a messy little string cluster underneath. And then I also did something different by writing out my verse. And that is from John 10:28, and no one will snatch them out of my hand. So that was the first card that I wanted to show you. Then let's go to another one. Some of these I haven't seen in a number of weeks. So this one was from day 5. Let me grab the stamp set. This is The Word Stands Forever. And what I did with these is I actually wrote down what days they corresponded with so I wouldn't miss using them. And so that was pretty helpful this month. I have a little fabric tag up at the top with some ledger paper in the background from A House of Books. And then I did handwrite as well this verse, Romans 3:24, in some of my ink from Ferris Wheel Press. It's awesome ink, and I loved the color and how it matched. So this is what we did with this one. You also see Romans 3:23 and 24 in the background here. So that's why I ended up using this fun The Word Stands Forever background stamp for that one. Okay, next one is the one that I did recently. I actually have two in this little Bible page. As you can see here, both of them were in the same kind of section. Oops, don't come out. Okay, so both of these, this is Romans 8:1 and Romans 8:29. So this one is using some of the dyeable muslin sheets that ByTheWell4God had, I believe, last summer. I sprayed them with some Lindy spray and also some Distress spray stain, and got this really fun effect. Added a little bit of ephemera. Now this was one floral cluster that I decided to, you know, put down here first and then cut it out and added the extra over here. And then I wanted to add some stitching since we had some fabric already, which the fabric is honestly just glued down to one of these cards that come with the Pocket Bible kit. And so I sewed that down, and once I sewed down this first, I decided I really wanted some more little stitching details. So I've added some here and in this corner. And then this one was, I think it was my first one. So I think it's day one. I have this cute little rose gold paper clip. I loved this license plate, so I needed to use that. These are Nuvo drops. And then I ended up using some ephemera. And then this is one of those little mini stickers that I made my own ephemera. I'm doing this a lot lately. And I just stick the sticker down on some white paper. That journaling paper from the journals is great to do this with. And then I fussy cut it out and made my own mini little ephemera. So in here I love this one. I forgot this one. This one has a little heaven identification card. This is a picture of my grandma. I think it's just so special. But I did use some VersaFine ink and then some clear embossing powder on top of that. And then I created this little floral right here. This was one of those stickers as well, but I added some glossy accents on top. Glossy accents was my friend this month, so you'll see me use that quite a bit. And then I had this little card that I backed. I believe this was a backer from one of the flash card sets. And then I used some more of that pattern paper that came in the pack with some fabric, my Dymo label maker, and then typed out Romans 8:29 on there and did the Strong's Concordance number. And I believe it was conformed. That's what it was. Yes, conformed. That I used that with. So that is in this little file folder. Now I did show, I believe on one of my, I don't know if I did it in a story or a reel, but how I made these fit better for the pocket Bibles because they're a little too big. And so basically I used, you can barely see it, but there's a little line where that scored edge usually or originally was. And so this was a little bit bigger, but I made a new score line with a scoreboard and folded it up and then cut off the excess and rounded the corners, basically is what I did to make these fit nicely right in the pages of here. Okay, so next one is my day 13. I just finished this one. So I really loved this file folder. See, I loved just making them a little bit more mini. And then I made this. This is probably one of my favorite cards. Just because I love this wax seal frame that I created. I did do this in a reel. Basically you use hot glue gun glue, and then you can use Sharpie or a bunch of different markers. I used Sharpie, but I also used this gilding polish on top. This does have a little brush, but it is currently drying because I just finished this. And that is actually what I used around the edges of this too. So I had Romans 12:5 on there, and then I just backed some ledger paper onto this journaling card. And so that is one of my favorites that I created this month. So day 13, let me put this back together. Of course, my little paper clip doesn't like me right now. Okay, and then next one is this little guy. So let me move the paper. Okay, so this one has a fun little QR code. That is part of the stamp set. Let me grab it. Okay, it's part of All Access. As you can see here, I did the same thing with the verses because this one had a lot of coordinating verses. So there's a little QR code stamp. I did stamp it on some Durlar film, which is similar to acetate, but is heat resistant and a little bit thicker. And you can actually scan this still with your phone, and it brings up the verse, which was really fun, 2 Corinthians 5:17. And this is for day 4. I did use some fun frills at the top. So don't, forget using little frillies. And I like how they stick out of the Bible as well. So let me put this one back. And then this was a super simple one, but a lot of people love this one on Instagram. This is simply a flashcard that I used a little mini sticker and cut out a little RV, posted it on some paper, like I said before, and then cut it in half so that I could see both ends. Obviously, it wasn't going to fit with the whole RV in one place because I didn't want to cover up anything. I added some fabric from the little tag clippies and then added a little tab that says abound, and then backed it with another one of those backers from the flashcard set. And this tag is, that's all it is. It was very simple. Yeah, sometimes simple is good. I'm trying to realize that, especially when I'm trying to do 14 days. A lot of times during a study, I only get, like 5 pages done. And so doing 14 pages or 14 little cards, even though they're little, was a stretch. But I'm really thankful that I did it, because this was definitely a fun project to work through. So this one has Galatians 2:16. I stamped it on some ledger paper. As you can see here, I left it so you can kind of see. This is also from that All Access stamp set. I used one of the Telegram cards, journaling cards. I love these. I love that there's a stamp of this. And they were a little too big as well for the pocket Bible, so I trimmed it down just a little bit. There was a verse down here, but by trimming it off, then it is, fits perfectly in there. I also used an ephemera piece and fussy cut that floral out, and the back is plain because some of them, they just had the verse on the front. So that is it for this one. Then let's see. Oops, I'll put that like that. Oh, also for this one, I used glossy accents on that time-sensitive stamp, which is also on the All Access stamp set. Okay, this one was super fun as well. Actually, there are a couple in this page. We have Ephesians 1:7 and Ephesians 1:3-5. But this one, I used the little RV campers. It's just called Campers stamp set. I stamped it right here, this one in VersaFine black ink, and then heat embossed it with some clear embossing powder so that I could use the Daniel Smith watercolors and color that in. I also decided to use some of the Fabric Tabby fabric to create my own little curtain. Sorry, as you can see here, there's a little curtain. And so I decided to create my own curtain with some fabric. It's also very hard to tell, but I'll try to show maybe. But there's also glossy accents on the little light bulbs. So I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up, but it's fun to see in person. This is ledger paper in the background that I decided was taking away too much from the RV. So I decided to do like a whitewash with white gesso in the back. And then I used the kit stamp and used this. Well, I'm not going to take it out, but there's one that says set free. It is not curved. It is straight like all of these. However, you can use them on the block since they are thinner. You can kind of curve them around certain areas. My suggestion is, curving little by little, and then usually it will stay. And then, so I just kind of tried to curve it around that RV and it worked perfectly. I did end up adding a little bit of foam tape behind that RV. It is a little tricky to see. But but then I wrote with my typewriter Ephesians 1:7. Now what I noticed is my typewriter doesn't like this paper that much. That's why I stopped. I was going to write all the verses on the back, but that's why you see some with verses and some without. I thought my typewriter, the little ribbon was running out, but in fact it is not. It just doesn't like this paper. I think it's because it has like kind of almost a glossy kind of finish, but it does work fine with the labels. So, you know, try it out on your own typewriter if you have one, I guess, but that's what I figured out this month. So this one, the simplest card I think I did. Maybe the sufficient one was a little bit simpler. I'm not sure. But this was a journaling card from the kit. It was a little too long. Yet again, it had the verse reference down here. So I decided to trim that off and move it to the top with a little tab that I made out of the paper. And then to, you know, make it just a little bit upscale, a little bit. I ended up using one of those mini stickers, putting it on paper yet again, and fussy cutting that out and adding some foam tape behind it. So that is the simplest kind of card. And let's see. Oh, this one was super fun. This one I used Lindy's Magicals, and I believe I did a reel for this one. So this one I used the Floral Lattice stencil and some Lindy's Magicals. So those are the little powders. If you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure to go check out my reel on Instagram. But I love how the sparkle of the powders just kind of settles down into the lines. It's hard to see, but I hope you can catch, yeah, like right there. You can see how the sparkles just kind of settle there, and it looks gorgeous in person. I love just the color of this. Is very fun. But then I didn't want to take away from the background because I loved it so much, so I decided to keep it simple otherwise, and added just two little greenery pieces and a floral propped up on foam tape. And then I did this verse on the background, or the back side. So this was for day 2. I cut the reference verse from one of the flashcards and added that to a tab, and that just kind of sits out when I have my Bible. Kind of, you'll see how all the tabs kind of, you can see on the side. So that's kind of fun. Okay, next one. I love this one because this just like looks like me, I guess, if I could say something looks like me. I love these muted kind of colors and the ledger paper, and I loved this floral. This was my favorite floral out of all of them. So I have 1 Peter 2:24. This was day 3. I had, you know, very simple yet again, but I just added a bunch of these mini stickers that I made my own ephemera again, to kind of cover up some mistakes that I had. And yeah, that was basically it. It was a very simple card, but totally my style. And I love the colors of this one. Okay, this is day 14. It has, oh, don't want to get that out of place. 1 John 3:1, talking about, this is the conclusion of the devotion. So we are talking about being redeemed, and I wanted to use that fingerprint or the imprint of God's stencil. It is currently drying near my sink, so I can't show you, but I wanted to use it all through this month, and I didn't know exactly when or how to use it. So I ended up trying to make little clouds. They didn't turn out exactly how I wanted them, just because this card is so tiny, so it's kind of hard to do that. But I think they kind of resemble clouds, so that works. I loved this little RV as well, but I needed it to have somewhere to sit, kind of. So I ended up having this ledger paper. This ledger paper was so helpful this month. I just basically, you know, it was one of those plain papers that you could use for anything. That's what I love about ledger paper, is that it's just so versatile. So I ended up using that on the bottom to have like a neutral, and then use my diamond label maker to, you know, spell out redeemed up here. Added a little bit of black distress ink around the sides, and then this is it, guys. This is day 14. So my last little, I believe it's my last one. Let's double check. Yeah, I think Jude is the last one. Okay, so Jude, I have 2 little cards that I did. So first off, I started with this, and I wasn't sure I was going to include this because I wasn't loving it just stamped in black and watercolored. But then with this one, I ended up using my Posca paint pen. And this was the first time I've ever used my Posca paint pen, and I fell in love with it. And I was really surprised that it didn't smear on the embossed areas. So I stamped this in black versified ink and then used the Posca pen on top, and I was super surprised that it didn't smear anywhere. So I decided to include it. It's just a little extra goodie, but it was talking about being sanctified in this day's devotion. So day 11, I believe this was. So yeah, it was fun to add little highlights to that. But this is my main card. Now this light bulb was an extra little goodie in the goodie pack this month, and I was really sad because I didn't find this verse in the devotion, but I loved the look of this stamp. I was so looking forward to using it, and so I decided to just use it anyhow. So I stamped it with black versified ink, embossed it with clear embossing powder so I could watercolor it, and I just kind of cut around here, so I cut off the words. So that was this one. Used some of that Daniel Smith watercolors and also that white Posca pen to add some highlights. And I absolutely love this look of this little light bulb. And then I had it Jude 124 on here and added the verse on a label. And that is it for that card. So guys, that is it. This month, I really enjoy working in a pocket Bible every couple months, maybe twice a year. I try to work through a pocket Bible in a kit. It, allows me to try things that I wouldn't necessarily try in my regular interleaved Bible. Like that watercolor stamping, I wouldn't necessarily try it right away because I want to make sure I like it and know how to do it. But I don't have a ton of time to play normally without creating content. I know that sounds horrible, but I just, I have 3 kids that I'm homeschooling, and so having play craft time doesn't always happen. So by doing some of these smaller cards, it allows me time to figure different things out and show you different techniques and whatnot. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know it's simpler than a lot of my pages, some of them, but I hope you enjoyed. And be on the lookout for the newest kit from ByTheWell4God. It is releasing Monday, July 24th. It's called The Heavenly Host, and I am so excited about it. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Let me actually grab the little, let me get it out of this plastic. Sorry, that's probably loud. But this is the little sneak, and let me tell you guys, it is gorgeous. I am so excited about it. It's completely my style. So make sure you check that out. I will have my affiliate link down below. If you use that, thank you so much. It means so much to my family. It helps us out even just a little bit. So thank you so much for that. And I hope you have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.